Hello and welcome to The Spirit Safe. My name's Rob. Thank you very much indeed for joining me. So over the coming few reviews, I'm going to be doing whiskies that are affordable and available, at least somewhat. And I said that I wanted to do a few bottlings from Glenfarclas. I reviewed the 8-year-old. So now we'll take a look at the 10-year-old in this very attractive orangey red packaging here. Glenfarclas, a traditional distillery in some respects. They still use dunnage warehouses and direct fired stills, but they don't indicate, on the bottle whether they chill filter or add colour to the whiskey. And the basic, the 8-year-old and 10-year-old are both bottled at 40% ABV. They use these. I mean, it's very old-fashioned packaging. I really hope they never change it because I just love how this sloped cursive script. It's just so old-fashioned. I really enjoy it. So I reviewed the 8 and enjoyed that. So now I will have a go at the 10. And like the 8, the cork on the 10 broke as well as I was opening it. I bought this at a private liquor store in Vancouver. I can't remember what I paid, but it sells reasonably cheap in the UK. It's not available at BC liquor stores. The cheapest Glenfarclas at the government stores is the 12-year-old, which I'll review and be able to compare to this 10. So I did enjoy the 8. It's a little bit on the young side, but I will. Let's see what the 10 offers. Lovely, sweet, herbal, floral notes, honeysuckle. A lot of rosy apples, red apples here. Slices of pink lady apples, strawberries. Sweet cherry and candy apple. A lot more sherry influence with the 10. A sweet sherry, a little bit of toffee, butterscotch. Walnuts. Quite a bit of marzipan. Picking up maybe a perfumed soap, maybe a lavender type soap. A bit of fresh cocoa, lovely Speyside malt. I do get some dry herbs and spices, but not very vivid, like it's right up at your nose. It's almost like walking into a store and the spices are towards the other end, but you can still get a whiff of the spices. Rose petals. Very honey, very inviting. And the nose really quite full for something at a low ABV. The palate also full and busy for a 40% whiskey. Wow, a lot of apple juice going on. Some spices, lovely spices. Spiced apple cider, maybe. Cherries. Sweet. Actually fairly luscious as well as it goes on to the finish. I'd have put this at 43% ABV, I think, based on the palate. Honey, cinnamon, kind of pleasant sourness, and an orange pekoe tea. So let's give it a little bit of water. and see if that brings out anything further. A lot more toffee apple and butterscotch starting to come through. But now a little bit of more tart apple is starting to appear. Malt, sherry, grassy notes. A twist of freshly squeezed lemon juice. Hint of sulphur is starting to appear, which I think comes from the traditional distilling process, the quite heavy spirit that they make at Glenfarclas. Some banana bread, bit of cinnamon, and rhubarb. Palate with water, much sweeter. Sweet malt, cherry jam, toasty, sweet cereals. A lot of honey, and on the tip of the tongue as it moves to the finish, a dry sort of honey towards the tip of the tongue. Maple syrup coming through. Maple syrup on the nose now. The finish is of honey, spice and oak, apple cider vinegar, fresh apples, charred oak, a little bit of soap, tropical fruit but not a lot, coffee and raisins. So, the 10, very enjoyable, and I did enjoy the 8, although I think that might be a bit young for typical tastes. So let's just give ourselves a drop of the 8 in this bottle that I kept hold of. And we'll just see how the two compare. Much less sherry going on with the 8. Much more of a grainy type complexion and tart apples. The 10 a lot more honeyed, a lot more honey forward. A lot more sherry involved. Not really picking up any sulphur on the 8. This is the 8 again. A little bit more acidic or nippy on the way down. Doesn't have that coating of honey that the 10 does. The 10, I'd say a lot more sherry, honey, coffee and nutty notes, whereas the 8 more grain and green apple notes. So the two really quite different, same distillery, only 2 years different in the age statement, but I think there are probably some recipe changes between the 8 and the 10. The 10 on its own then is pretty good. It's not expensive, and yeah, it's recommended. My feeling is that the 12, with its availability and with the price being only a couple of dollars more than the 10, maybe the 12 would be the one to go for, but I'll reserve my judgment until I compare the two. I'd say between the 8 and the 10, they're really quite different. The 8 is an experience and the 10 is more a product the 10 I think is probably going to be more acceptable to the mass market. But it's worth giving both the 8 and the 10 a go. Neither of them are expensive, and both of them are interesting malts. What particularly surprises me about the 10 is just how heavy the spirit is for such a low ABV. I don't normally. I find myself, whenever I'm reviewing something that's at 40% ABV, I'm always saying, well, this would be better at 43 or 46 because there's going to be more flavour, and I feel like I'm missing out. I'm receiving something that's very thin. I'm paying for water that comes out of the tap. But with this, I don't feel terribly shortchanged at 40% ABV on the 10, and it's not often that I say that. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the review. Hope to see you again soon, and until then, stay in good spirits. Cheers. Goodbye.